Hey guys, thanks for joining me. This is going to be a rather serious video. YouTube is a platform to voice your opinions. And there is something I have been wanting to talk about for a while, but I didn't want to ruffle any feathers. But at this point, I just don't really care. You know, these are my experiences. And yes, I want to talk about them because it cannot only just be happening to me. So if you're sensitive, then you probably should click off right now. But I'm not going to pull any punches. Okay? So if you're brave enough to listen, let's get on with it. First of all, I want to say I live in a small town. And, the stereotypes about small towns are that there is racism. In my case, I don't really have any problems with white people. It's always been my own kind. Why is that? Why is that? That's my rant.
Yeah, yeah, oh, oh, yeah, yeah, oh, oh, yeah, yeah, yeah,
The level of disrespect that I personally have received from certain, I don't even want to say it's a socioeconomic class, but just certain African American women of a certain mindset. I don't understand how I can get in a line at a grocery store and the African American woman at the cash register just blatantly disrespects me for no reason. And I'm going to give you several examples, and you tell me whether it's something in my mind and I'm imagining it, or whether there is a problem here. Now, just as you see me now, this is how I usually look when I go out, unless I'm wearing my hair natural or unless I'm going straight from work. Then I got a little strappy shirt, and some Wolverine steel toe shoes. But for the most part, how you see me on camera is kind of what I look like when I'm out and about. The way I speak to you on camera is the way I speak to people when I'm out and about. So explain to me why I keep running into African American women whose job it is for customer service to, for some reason, can't find it in their soul to at least even be civil to me. I was in line at the grocery store. And when I pulled up in the 10 item or less line, there was nobody there. And I'm like, whoa, I got lucky. Now, on the other side was a self service counter, and there was a man there, and he was having problems, and there was a woman behind him. When I get into this line, there's nobody there. And like I said, whoa, I got lucky. And there's an African American lady at the cashier. She's turned around talking to her coworker. So when she turns back around, I'm standing there. My little six items are on the counter, and she physically jumped. I swear to God, she went, and I thought, is there something in my hair? Is there something in my teeth? You know, uh, what happened here? She looks over at the woman behind the man at the next cashier over, self service, and she goes, ma'am, if you want to, you can come over here. And I'm standing there going, do you not see me standing here? Do you not see my items on the counter? And so the woman that she was speaking to was a white lady. At this point, the level of disrespect is off the charts. Even the white lady was shocked. She goes, no, that lady's already there. Now, the way I see it is this: had you not been talking to your coworker, had you actually been paying attention to what was going on, you would have saw that the gentleman had problems and somebody had to come help him. You would have saw that the lady behind him was waiting patiently. You could have just said, ma'am, come over here before I got in line. Before I got in line. So thankfully, the white lady was very gracious and she goes, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm fine. So then the cashier proceeds to ring me up. And one of the bags I bought, because I bought some crab legs, right? So I'm keeping an eye on that bag. She doesn't give me, and I said, "Oh, is that my bag?" And she goes, "Oh, yeah, here." She then gets my change and my receipt and turns back around to her coworker with my change and my receipt still in her hand. Now, mind you, her hand wasn't stretched out towards me. It was here. And she's turned around like this. And there is nothing I can do but stand there and go. And eventually she turns back around and she goes, "Oh, here." Now, I, you know what? I You're gonna get a video if you haven't already gotten it about how I was brought up. And we were brought up to be polite to people, to be nice to people until they show you a side of them that they don't deserve that. So when someone is just for no reason impolite to me, I'm usually at a loss of even one to process it and two, even to figure out what to do about it. So, I took my money and my receipt and I left. But that stayed with me and it bothered me. Another example, we have a grocery store that's family owned. At least I think it's family owned. I've always considered it family owned. Um, and recently, within the last 6 months, they hired an African American to work there. And I went, "Oh, they hired a black person. That's nice." So one day I proceeded to ask her a question. And this is back when I was using my cane. And I thought I would ask her, I said, "Do you know if you have this in the store brand?" That way, if she could tell me yes or no, and I wouldn't have to walk all the way back there just to find out for myself. And so she goes, "I don't know. But if we have it, it's back there." It's okay if you don't know. I don't have a problem with you not knowing. But there had to be a better way to say it than that. And then about 6 weeks, 8 weeks later, they hired another African American woman. Now there's two. And I'm thinking, "Oh, okay, we're on a roll here." So I get in her line. Now I always carry my own insulated grocery bag because was a lot of work for me to try to get all of my groceries up the steps to my second floor apartment in one go. So I always took an insulated bag for my cold stuff. So that bag would go in the house with me right away. And then later I would come down for the other things. I just needed to take a break before I just went straight back down there. Okay. And so I told her I had a bag. And she looked a little perturbed about that. Now, the other white ladies who worked there never had a problem with me handing them my bag. They saw I had a cake. They never had a problem with it. So she starts throwing my stuff in the bag, not even packing it. Now, mind you, I used to work at a Giant slash Martin's years ago. So I know how a grocery bag is supposed to be packed. It's a little bit of Tetris, okay? But she just threw it all in there. And then there was one item left over that she couldn't get in the bag. Now, me personally, I would have said, "Look, I can't get this item in with your cold stuff, so I'm going to put it in a separate bag. That way, it's one more cold item, and then you can, deal with it however you have to." Not a problem. That's okay. That works. Not this lady. She throws that one cold item in the bottom of the bag, and then she proceeds to put a bag of noodles, a can of beef broth, a loaf of bread, and some dog treats on top of it. Now, had I not seen her do this, there is a good possibility I would not have realized there was something cold in the bottom of that bag, and it may have gotten left in the trunk for several hours before I made a second trip down. So when I saw her do it, I said, "Is that a cold item?" In the meantime, she's still putting stuff in that bag. And she goes, "Yeah, why?" I said, "Well, normally you put cold stuff separately." She goes, "And I swear to God on a Bible, this is what she said to me. And at that point, I just said, don't say nothing else. Just make a note that it's in that bag. And when you get to the truck, rearrange your cold bag and squeeze it in there." And after that, she just continued to finish ringing up my stuff. She handed me my receipt and never said thank you, have a good day, nothing. Just walked away from the cashier. She basically dismissed me. Now, originally I thought, well, maybe she didn't like having to pack a bag. But you know what? When I worked at the grocery store, a lot of people brought their own insulated bags. And because of the way their checkout counter is organized, you can't really pack that bag yourself. Usually when I go to a grocery store and if they have that big space at the bottom, I'll just say, you know what, just throw it down there, I'll pack it myself. But that's not how their checkout system is set up. So I really couldn't do that. And I'm thinking, but there was no reason to get that smart with me. Now, and I will tell you, I did not complain to the management. A lot of people would have. I didn't. I just didn't want any problems. But from that moment on, when I went into the store, I asked neither one of them anything. Even if it was their job to be helpful, I asked them no questions, and I never got in either one of their lines again. Now, I noticed in the last month, neither one of those women are there. And you know what? Good riddance to them. But what I want to know is why would you hire people with this type of attitude? No, maybe it's a low paying job, but I know Martin's isn't. Martin's paid good when I was there 30 years ago. So I know it's not a low paying job. What is the problem with certain personalities of Black women? What is the problem? Now, you know what? I'm not loud. I'm not obnoxious. I'm not asking for special treatment. I don't understand what the problem is. Why are some African American women so damn angry at the whole friggin' world? There are certain personalities that should never work in customer service. Why do companies keep hiring people who should not work in customer service? And this is what I don't understand. Even my own sister, who would give me the shirt off her back, but that's because I'm family. You ask her a question and she just not in the mood. Don't go by the answer she gives you because she's only going to give you half the information because she don't feel like being bothered. There are certain personalities that should never work in customer service. One of the things I have noticed is that ghetto isn't any social economic group. Ghetto has degrees. And if you've ever went to a DMV or had to deal with the government, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I just don't understand why people take jobs in customer service if they really don't want to be helpful, or if there are certain people they just take a dislike to and decide they just don't want to do their job. It makes no sense. And from now on, I'm gonna start complaining because obviously other people complained about these people. That's why they're not there. From now on, I will start complaining as well. Take care, stay blessed, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.